Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports, breaking down what has been a fun second round of the NBA. Two huge games tonight. Brad Thomas, Brian versus the Books. What's going on, guys? I guess we'll start here. What biggest takeaways the last few days? A classic game last night, Lakers Warriors. What do you guys got?
I'll let you go first, Brad, because I think you've been waiting.
I'll be honest. I did not watch the game last night. I was traveling all day, coming back from my bachelor party. But listen, as someone who lives down in a legal state, being able to go to a sports book to watch these playoffs has been
Yeah.
absolutely sick. Like I had no money on the Celtics game, but the fact that they're Celtics fans, Phillies fans, it's way different than just being at a bar. Like these guys have hard-earned cash on it. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, as a Sixers fan, I did take the Celtics plus 3.5 once the Sixers started to collapse, as because I knew if I did that, then maybe I could come out as a winner either way. But yeah, these have been some fun games. Even the Warriors series, there's a few blowouts, but the game last night was like
Epic.
it was awesome. It was such a good back and forth. It was you talk about basketball being a game of runs. The first half, I had the Warriors first half, and the Lakers went on an 8-0 run, and I was like, oh, that's kind of shot. The Warriors live are like plus 550, and I was like, I'm probably cooked there. And then they went on like a 13-0 run. So it was really just a back and forth the entire time, and it was a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, I was looking at the live line and it just didn't feel safe. Like the Warriors were up 6 or 7, and you get some good numbers live. It's not fun for us to talk about content wise because to sit here and talk about, all right, what's going to happen live, it doesn't help anybody. But sometimes these teams are down 6 or 7. The live line's like plus 330, and that lead's gone so quickly. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
man, just
especially when you have Klay Thompson pulling up from like 60 feet. Like I've
he
never
was
seen
bad.
I've
He
never
was
seen Klay
bad.
Thompson not call his own number. It like I mean they were what down one when he pulled from like 60 feet, and there's that video of Steve Kerr just losing his shit a little bit. So yeah, that was an interesting late game situation for the
I
Dubs.
I watched the end of that game, and boy, the Lakers did not even play well. I know they won, but they didn't play well. It's just the Warriors. The lead went from 12-5 for the Warriors without them taking without the Warriors attempting a shot. Just turnover after turnover. Shooter got the steal, and by the end, the Curry was just exhausted. I think that's why you saw him settle for those threes. And I wouldn't count this over. I wouldn't count this out. The Warriors are just such a great champion that I think they'll roll tomorrow. We can get to that game. I guess we'll start there. Who's got a better chance of forcing the game 7, the Warriors or the Knicks? Both of the teams down 7. I would think it'd be the Warriors. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
Warriors.
Yeah.
Warriors. I'm sorry. I in what is it? The Knicks put the Heat in the bonus, what, 38 seconds into the fourth quarter. That was just slow, sloppy. I mean, like I know some were ticky tack calls, but you have Julius Randle and Josh Hart, who are two big players, and they were just kind of playing a little stupid in terms of they had 4 or 5 fouls going to the fourth, and they still were playing just as aggressive. And it's really interesting.
The Heat missed 16 shots in the fourth quarter. They got 11 of those back on offensive rebounds, 7 individual, 4 team offensive rebounds. It's just brutal. Should we get to the games tonight? And
Yeah,
then
let's
maybe look at the
party.
games
Yeah.
tomorrow. We touched on it. Celtics are laying now 7.5 against the Sixers. Total 214. I don't have a play side or total. I don't trust the Celtics. I do think the Celtics, they're home. They're the better team. I'd lean that way for them bouncing back. I think their 2 wins have been sort of comfortable, while the 2 Sixer wins they've had to eke out. So I would lean Celtics. Brian, this is your squad. Make the case here for the Sixers.
So I mentioned a little bit beforehand. The one play I did put out is I did take a look where I did a same game parlay, where I took Joel Embiid 25 plus points and Tyrese Maxey 15 plus points minus 105. FanDuel it's like minus 150 like this morning. It's just a huge odds discrepancy, and I bet this team based on how I see the game. And I mean, last game the Sixers put up 116 points, Embiid with 34, Harden with 42. It's just they need somebody to make their open shots outside of these guys. Joel Embiid was terrible in the fourth quarter. And I think Tyrese Maxey has to be that guy. I think you're going to see the Celtics cheat up a little bit more on Harden because they know that if Harden gets hot, he's the one guy that can take it over a game from that 3-point line. So I think Tyrese Maxey has to be big. And I'm not playing a side on here, but I will say that if the Sixers are going to win this game, it has to be, you need player one, player two, and you need that third player. I don't need Maxey to put up 30 or take over the game, but I just need him that if they collapse on Joel in the post or if they collapse on Harden at the wing, he's got to hit those open in stride threes that he's just breaking every time he gets it.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get in the business of laying 7.5 for the Celtics, even though being at home. I could interest myself in Jaylen Brown over 24.5 points. He missed that in the last 2 road games, but one of the games he was 0 for 4 from 3 and there's like stop shooting. And the other one he missed it at 23 as well. But I think this is like the kind of like one of those stop the bleeding games where I think both him and Tatum go absolutely berserk. And if they don't, I think they lose this. They could lose today.
Yeah, and someone in the chat mentioned why not play Embiid's points with Harden's assist, and I thought about that. It's not a bad look either. His assists have been great, but I just think my read's less about an Embiid to Harden PNR, and it's more just I think Maxey finally starts hitting some shots. He's getting so much volume that I think he's got to be the one that just makes them. He's taking like 16, 17 shots a game, and you can only shoot 4 for 17 for so long until you eventually accidentally make a few.
You mentioned Maxey stepping up. We were talking about this before the show. Like the Sixers and the Nuggets play on the same night. Their series are matched up. It's very hard to watch every play. Like NBA, you go in and out. There's other things on like during the regular season, but during the playoffs, watch every single play of the Sixers game, then watch every single play of the Nuggets game. It's very hard to see how Embiid won this award just as a neutral observer. I know you're a Sixers guy, so you probably back your boy Embiid. To me, Jokic is just so much the better player. Can Embiid finally have one of these playoff games where he scores 45 points, 21 rebounds, and he carries his team? He's never been good in the playoffs. He was 11 of 26 the other night, 11 of 28. Not good efficiency, was under 50% in game 3. Can we finally have an Embiid game where he puts his team on the shoulders?
I hope it's this game because he did mention that how bad he played in that fourth quarter, and he looked great in the overtime period. And I think this is his game where he's got to do it, whether it's taking over scoring or just taking over being efficient, or even that game winning shot where he was able to pass out of the double. He's just got to find a way to, make the right play, which I think it is nice for me as a guy that's watching this team for so long. Because fun fact, James Harden scoring 42 on Sunday is the first time player has put up 40 that's not named Joel Embiid during since Iverson, along with Embiid. But I just think it's got to be whatever it is. It's just got to be him making the right play because I don't want him. So I've seen Joel in years past in that overtime period get that double and still try to hit that fade. So I don't care if he's putting up 25 points, but making the right passes. So I think it's just going to be about making sure that he's efficient enough to the point where it's winning basketball tonight. And that's what I'm praying for.
Well, you could take Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown to combine for 85 points plus 110.
That's actually
that's not terrible, but you need two of those guys to go off. You need 2 guys to go off.
I worry about Embiid. I would lean towards Andre Embiid points just because I think he shot 27 free throws in the 2 games in Philly. I don't know that he's going to get a friendly whistle. Now he scored 30, he scored 34, but again, that's on 27 free throw attempts. Yeah. Not good efficiency. You worry about every other night now with this knee. He seems to get tired in the fourth quarter. And if it's a situation where the Celtics are up by 15, Doc can just say, you know what, let's punt, let's get ready for game 6. And we'll let go of the rope a little bit. We'll try and win game 6, and then we'll take our chances again in game 7. That's certainly a reasonable scenario. So I don't know, the 28.5. Anything else for player points, for player props that jumps out to you guys?
Not as much. And no. I think it's one of those things where I just really hope that we see a good game because I just, as a fan, I don't want to watch it be one of those games. And it's I don't know if you saw this. Did you guys see that Dwayne Dedmon was taking shots early today? I wonder if we see some Dwayne Dedmon minutes in this game.
I saw that.
Because in that fourth quarter, Embiid usually checks back in 7 minutes in. They went 3.5 minutes scoreless in the 9 Embiid minutes with Paul Reed out there, and he checked in early. And man, he looked gassed. Like he looked gassed playing that extra rotation. And I wonder if we see some Dwayne Dedmon minutes. And if I do, I want some props because I'll take if I get a 2.5 or 3.5 rebound line, I'll take it.
You're gonna take it
because he might. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a few minutes to kind of close the gap with the Paul Reed minutes.
I feel like Doc has the advantage. I've never been a huge Doc fan. I feel like he's got the advantage coaching wise against Mazzulla. Mazzulla looks like he's like a deer in the headlights sometimes. Like not calling a timeout the other day. He gets pissy with the media after these games when anyone questions him. He just looks like the inexperience is showing a little.
Also, bad. Why not call a timeout to set up a play there at the end of the game. Like he
And that is
left it.
playing the results. If he made the shot and it counted, nobody would be saying that. But still, they took way too long. I mean, they acted like the game was tied. Like you got to give yourself a chance at a putback or a foul if you miss. Like you got to give yourself more cracks at it.
So it is funny because I was watching the game at a party I was at, and me and my brother were like the two people that actually understood basketball. And when Smart made that shot, me and my brother were like high-fiving and celebrating. Everybody else was like pissed off, like trying to act like they like fuck. And we're like, oh guys, we're like, dude, there was no way. Like they're like, why you guys celebrate? I started playing the Sixers song on my speaker, and they're like, why you guys celebrating already? I'm like, did you see that? I was like, by the time he made that pass, there was a second. He was like, there was not even a chance he got that off. So it was one of those games where it was just kind of funny, where it was surprising that they didn't kind of set something up there.
Force lean 7.5, taking it or laying it?
Man, Forced. I'm gonna take the 7.5. It could be a blowout, but I don't trust it. I don't trust the Celtics. They get to the fourth quarter and then forget how to play basketball.
I think I'm too biased on it, but I do think I lean the 7.5. I think that's like 3 possessions. That's just if it's anything close. And for all you know, the Sixers will be up 16 again, and then they'll lose by 3. Like that's one of their trademarks. But yeah, we can move on to the other game. I just want to finish off my quick Sixers thing, saying
you're not convincing me. By the way, I want to root for the Sixers. I want them to win. You haven't convinced me. This is more hope than I think. This is not convincing.
No, this is not a Sixers thing. This is just a thing where I think it's so funny that being on Twitter all the time, I think it's so weird that you can never appreciate one player without it like trashing the other. It's so funny. Like whether it's Steph Curry, like LeBron, Jokic, Embiid, it's like I'm a huge Sixers fan. I love Joel Embiid, but I also like Jokic. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like I think it's so weird that you can't say like, hey, these are two great players that are very different. And so it was just like I saw a thing that was saying Jokic doesn't have any All-Stars on his team. If he wins it, like, is it the greatest run? And I was like, well, LeBron doesn't have an All-Star from this year. Neither do the Sixers or
I think Embiid belly aching for the MVP, and I think the fact that it probably went to the wrong person is probably part of that. That's
I agree. I just think it's so funny that you can't just say like, "Wow, that's a great game."
I agree with that. Twitter is ugly. I agree.
Yeah, I just don't understand why we have 4 of the best 5 players probably in the league, like in these playoffs, and you can't just say, "Wow, this is fun to watch." Like it's crazy.
No, I agree.
Or I was gonna say, like Joel Embiid makes that pass, and it's like, oh, James Harden saved his ass, and it's like, okay, but like other way around, it's like, oh, he's got no help. It's like you can't win no matter what happens.
Yeah, it's stupid. A lot of it's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
I agree. A lot of it's so stupid. Brad, what would you do? Would you take it or lay it?
I'm laying it. Man, like there's no team I trust less than the Celtics in the fourth quarter, so I'm gonna take the points.
Yeah, it's funny. Like as much as I don't trust Philly, I've had futures on in the last few years. Like I'm so scarred by them. I was like, oh, maybe this is the year they break through. Like Boston's sort of sketchy too. They just give these weird games against Atlanta in a way. Boston, there is no great team this year.
I think the reason I can't convince you is because
the Lakers. What do you mean? The Lakers are the great team.
Because I actually do think I objectively lean the Sixers with the points tonight. But as a fan, I just always have to have I have to shit on them more. The game I have to have zero confidence, so that way I have no expectations, which is like it kind of murks up when people ask me how I think about a game, because I'm not the fan that's like, oh, we got this in the bag. I'm like, I'm just happy if we're within 40 at this point.
I will say this: if I think if you tell me right now they're gonna cover, I think they'll win. I don't think they'll I don't think.
I mean, that's a theme of the playoffs.
It has been. It has been. I don't know if I trust them to win a close game on the road. I guess they did it in game 1 and they just did it the other night at home, but I feel like if they're going to cover, they're going to win. I could see a scenario where Boston wins by 15. I could see a scenario where Philly wins. I'll take the points here. What the hell? Go Sixers. Let's go Philly.
And credit to the guy that will never get credit, but Tobias Harris has actually played very well despite sucking on the offensive end. Like Jason Tatum has been kind of giving in rough fits. So if he keeps that up and we get one other guy to step up, whether it's the minivan, George Niang, whoever it is, just someone hit some open shots, please.
Tucker gives him some toughness too.
Yeah, Tucker does.
All right, the other game, this has been a lot of fun to watch. We are 2-2 now. I didn't think Phoenix would get a split. I didn't think Phoenix would win both of them. I thought they'd split here and this was over. I think they're actually better without Paul. I think they play with more pace, with Payne.
That's 100% what it is. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, Shamit's done a nice job guarding Murray, which makes him playable, puts another shooter on the floor. Landale's played well. We're up to 6 now in Denver. The thing is here, we're going to Denver. The role players typically play better at home than on the road. The Shamits, the Landales, the Michael Porter Jr.'s, the Bruce Brown. So I would expect Denver to win. I'm not laying I'm not going to lay 6 here. I guess I
Yeah,
lean that way.
I saw
know I'm playing
6.5 some places.
That's to me, that's inflated. I've been playing the overs. The overs have been good in the series, but game fives typically go under because just like game sevens go under, game five is sort of a proxy for game seven because whoever wins game five usually wins the series. I spent a lot of time talking about this.
And this series
Curious what
hasn't
you guys
started
think.
yet. This series hasn't started yet.
It might not start at all.
Both series started one at home. It's how it works. But yeah, I think that the difference people don't understand is we talk about all the time, at least like on this show, is that it opened up 4.5. The difference between 4.5 and 6.5 is not like I think some people think about it as like, oh, that's like one shot, but it's not. It's so much more than that in terms of possessions and everything else. That I just think it's hard to lay that. And we kind of talked about a little bit with the Sixers needing that other guy to step up. The Suns weirdly got that. Like everyone talks about KD and Booker's amazing games, but they don't win that game probably. But that Landry Shamet out of nowhere, just giving them the most absurd shooting night of his entire career. Sixers legend Landry Shamet. So I guess the big question is in this game, can the Suns have that again? Where KD and Book are gonna get theirs, but can they have that guy off the bench again? I just don't know. Like that was such a random Landry Shamet sighting that it's tough to believe that they can get over that hump again. But I just don't know if I can trust a 6.5 or 6 line.
Yeah, I just think that, it happens way too much in sports media where a team goes down 0-2, loses their both first two road games, and we count them out. But you alluded to it. Playoffs don't start until the home team loses a game. I was looking at some props here, and I just feel like it's going to be raining threes in Denver, but that doesn't mean anybody's going to make them. I just like the price on Michael Porter Jr.'s over 2.5 threes. It's -105. In the last two games, he's taken 19 combined threes. He's made 8 of them. I think that he has a good chance to kind of fill up the buckets. My only thing that I'm worried about is if we get a Jamal Murray explosion game, Michael Porter Jr. is not going to touch that ball. It's going to be Jamal Murray because he's due for a big game. I think he had a 38 2 games ago, but like he
Murray's 2.5 too. Do you like Murray at 2.5?
I like Murray, but his was really juiced on my
135 DraftKings.
Yeah, it's not bad. I would have to pick one or the other too. Like
I don't think so. I think if you took, I guess if you took both of them, probably one of them is going to hit. I think there's a better chance. Like if you took both of them, I think there's a better chance they both hit that neither of them hit. So I think you'd at least split.
That is true.
Murray can pass a little more, by the way. The ball can get stuck with him, and he likes to just dribble.
God,
he pass the ball a little bit.
That's what I'm afraid of. If he starts making shots, like no one's going to touch the ball. No.
His pass button is broken sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of messing around with it too, because I kind of agree with Brad there saying that threes might be attempted a lot. And funny, I was just looking at like messing around. Kevin Durant to make 2 threes and Booker to make 2 threes parlay together is plus money, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Like plus 100. It's not a bad look. I feel like Kevin Durant, he shot pretty 2 for 12 that one game, but then he shot he's taking like 4 or 5. I might look into that because I wonder how that's going to look because they've been just chucking from 3 because they're the only 2 people that could shoot.
Are they chucking from? Let me go look at the because the way last time I looked at it, I thought
Durant had 4 last game, 5, and I think 12.
Fakes?
No, like attempts from 3.
So that's not that. I mean, 4 attempts is not that.
I think he stopped taking as many when he shot 2 for 12.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone talked about like their shot diet. They don't get to the free throw line. They don't take enough threes, and they won all these games pretty much playing the same way, just killing people from mid range. Where they don't get to the line a lot. They don't make a lot of threes, but they're just so efficient in the mid range. I don't know. I've ever seen shot making like that. My goodness.
I think it's so funny because I think that's the same thing in the other series we just talked about with the Celtics. The Celtics can just get hot from 3. The Sixers are a team that doesn't like have the firepower from 3. So that's almost like the back pocket for Denver and some other teams. If they just get hot from 3, it's almost like a pack it in because you can't compete with a team taking 43 threes and then making 20 of them on a given night. It just
didn't Philly shoot it really well from 3 this year?
But percentage wise, maybe, but attempt wise, not as much. Like because I think last game, I think the Celtics had 10 more 3-point attempts. Like it's just not a team that is going to be chucking as much from 3. We really have Harden, the minivan, George Niang that can give you a few, but.
Yeah, they led the league 38.7% Philly from 3 this year. Again, I don't have the attempts in front of me. Golden State was 2, Clippers were 3, right around. I mean, they weren't by a lot, but 38.7%.
I also think that's also helped by the fact that if you're not taking 40 plus a game,
you're taking better ones and guys. Yeah, you're right. My play here, and I really like this play, Denver. You can bet these by the quarter. Denver to win the fourth quarter. So
I
fourth
saw
quarter
that.
money
I
line.
saw that. Yeah.
-130. It's up to -135 now at DraftKings. I think it's still playable. The angle here is Booker and Durant playing a ton of minutes. It's not sustainable. They're going to get worn out. The altitude in Denver is always a factor. Denver won the fourth quarter in game 1 in Denver by 5. Game 2 in Denver, they won the fourth quarter by 13. To me, that's a better way to play it. Denver, just take the fourth quarter money line. Figure Phoenix gets a little tired.
I'm interested to see how that's going to look live. Like, say after the third quarter, I'm going to kind of like I'm praying the Suns are up, like say 10 after the third quarter.
Yeah.
So like or up at all. Like I would love to see if I can get like a spread or something like that for just the fourth quarter. Because I agree with you there. That I think it's a good look, especially when you're playing guys. I mean, their starters are playing 45 minutes a night. It's something. Eventually, it's going to add up because it's not just this series; it was last series too.
I hate to say it, but last time we saw Durant playing this many minutes, it was 2019 Golden State, and it didn't end well. And he's a guy who's had a million injuries just time after time. I hope it does. I mean, look, nobody's rooting for that. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's definitely something you have to take into consideration here when you handicap it. All right, Goldboys Live. What do you guys have on this game? What are we doing?
I'm not touching it.
I did put out the Michael Porter, but if I were forced to take a side, I'd go with Denver -6.
Yeah, life on the line. I probably just back the Suns with the points, just because I think it moves so much. If you can get 6.5, I think it just moves so much from that original 4.5. I guess the big question is, can Devin Booker stay shooting 130%?
My God.
Like, have you seen that chart of his last like 2 games?
It's insane.
Where it's like green, red, green, and it's like the shot. It's crazy. Like
I think him and Durant will keep it up. I just think it's the other guys that won't play as well.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a team sport. You need 1A, 1B, but then you need that third. Like you need that. Like it's a stars league, but it's proven many times that you can have 2 of the best players in the league. Doesn't mean you're going to go far if you don't have the because 2 players can combine for 80 points, but where's the other 40 coming from?
Any feel on the total?
What's it at now? Because it's been moving.
227.5. Little tick down from the over.
Which is
like I said, game 5s usually trend under when it's 2-2 because it's a proxy for game 7 where teams get a little tighter, tight defense, a little more methodical on offense. But man, I don't know if I want to play an under. They've been playing so fast. They've been making every shot. It would be a stay away because the game 5s I typically like to play under, but
it's so funny that the Sixers Celtics is like 212. It's like it's such a drastic difference. I will say, I think it's like at 230, it's like definitely an under. 227 is a little tough. And we talked about it before on the show multiple times, but lines get sharper, especially in the playoffs, less games. So it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to watch this game, maybe attack it live, but you don't necessarily have to have a play in every single playoff game.
How about the games tomorrow? Knicks laying 4 against Miami. I think that's.
You took the Heat, right?
I like the Heat.
That series is done.
You can get
it feels that way.
It does.
You can get 3.5 now on FanDuel.
I'd rather have the 4.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just fucking with you.
It took me a second. I was like, wait.
I just like to keep everyone guessing. Yeah,
I think I took 4.5 on the alternate. I bought a few cents just because I don't really know why, to be honest. But to me, they have the best player in Butler. They have the best coach, maybe in the league in Spoelstra. They shoot it better. Like I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks win tomorrow. But to me, you're going to give me 4.5 points with a team that I think is not. I guess they are clearly better. I don't know. It's so hard with the Heat were outscored during the regular season. They have a negative point differential, and they're just kicking everybody's ass in the playoffs. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where I'm 3-0 on it, so knock on wood, but I might take some more action on Jalen Brunson, who's just been so fun to watch. But yesterday he put up 30 some, and he looked kind of lost out there with some of the people in production wise. Because what was does anyone know why Josh Hart was not in the starting lineup? That was like a really weird change of direction. Who has actually been playing well like most of the series. I was surprised that they went away from him in the starting lineup.
Trying to get more offense, more shooting, I guess. I don't know. They just haven't shot well in that.
They look lost.
Yep. And that team total, I didn't give it out. I was close to giving it out. I don't know why I didn't. The market moved against me and it threw me off, but it was 101.5, moved to 102.5. And they were sitting there at 101. They got an 8-second call. Then they missed another, garbage shot, and it did just stay under. So the Knicks have just had trouble scoring in the half court. Their whole thing is crash the paint, go to the basket. and they're getting punked on the glass. They can't score inside. They're not a good shooting team. I just don't know where the answers are. To me, this is sometimes these series are as simple, like with Denver Phoenix, where, all right, we'll go home, we'll play better. I just don't know if going home solves anything here for the Knicks.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. Who do you think comes out firing like the start? Like who do you think has like the spark to start the
like
first
which
quarter?
team?
Like which team like comes out more fired up and ready in the first quarter?
I think the Knicks probably. They're going to be excited, but I just think throughout the course of 4 quarters throughout the game, they're just not there.
You know what concerned me when I really thought the Heat were going to win this series was game 1 when Miami won on the road. Usually game 2, when you lose game 1 at home, you roll, you win easily. The fact that they couldn't win comfortably with no Butler at home game 2, that was a really troubling sign. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like the Heat are not a complacent team. They're tough. They're really tough. I think the Heat come out and, I don't know, jump on them early. And sometimes when you're home and the crowd can kind of turn on you. So I don't know. I just think getting 4.5 here is a good play. I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks won. I mean, they're favored. They're favored for a reason. But to me, I'll take the 4.5 here.
Yeah, I only asked because I was actually because you played a weird market and it got me thinking when I saw JD tweet it this morning that about the fourth quarter. I was looking at you can get plus 100 for the Heat to score 10 points first in the second quarter. Because I'm thinking if the Heat come out firing, if the Knicks come out firing, I think like the second quarter might be an interesting way to play the Heat, who have been adjusting really well. So I don't know if I'd ever post a play like that. It's such a weird play, but it seems like a fun thing to root for. So
yeah, my angle was more the altitude with Denver.
I'm not saying.
Angle,
yeah, I'm not saying your angle is wrong. I'm just saying like that was like a more strange market, so it got me looking into like these other markets that DraftKings actually offers, and I was kind of looking into some different things.
Right. Would you guys play this either way? +4, -4, anything?
I'd probably just take Heat money line plus 140. I just think the Knicks it might just be me like
it looks a little light. Plus, you're getting 4. I feel like the money line should be a little higher on 4, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's because they saw the same interview that everyone saw with Who Wants It More.
That and
I'm surprised Randall said that.
That was cover win, so they're not the money line's getting depressed a little bit.
I was surprised because like Julius Randall, it's one of those things where you can think it, but sometimes saying stuff like that, it's just
I know
it's kind of like could you imagine showing up to shoot around after saying that? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a weird dynamic with your team to be like, oh, maybe this team wants it more. That's why we're losing, and then like you got to turn around and go to the locker room and be like, yeah, what's going on, guys? It's just a weird. It's a weird
defense
thing.
Stinks too. His body language, his defense. I'm not a huge.
And he's
fan
He's playing a little lazy because I mean he fouled out, and if you watch his fouls were just avoidable for the most part.
Yep, totally agree. This one, boy, this has gotten up to 7. I gave this out late last night. I think at 4.5, like -135 or something. I think the Warriors roll tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's funny how similar the Warriors Lakers series is to Lakers Memphis. Lakers win game 1, get rolled in game 2. Win game 3 comfortably, eke out game 4, just like they did against Memphis. And we know what happened to game 5 in Memphis. Memphis killed them. Then Lakers won in game 6. I don't know that it's going to keep up, but I do think for game 5, it'll keep up. I could see the Warriors winning this game, winning it comfortably.
Yeah.
I think LeBron and Davis playing all these minutes. If they're down early, if they're down like second, third quarter, whatever, I could see LeBron and Davis not playing that many minutes. So an SGP with the Warriors winning, LeBron, Davis under points, under rebounds. I posted one of those. I could see this being a scenario where they cut down on the minutes. I really like the Warriors tomorrow. It's getting out of hand, but if you like the Warriors, bet it now. 7's a lot, but I think they cover. I think they roll. What do you guys think here, Lakers and Warriors?
Did you see ESPN had like this like cover story that was like, should the Lakers rest starters?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, all right. Like I get people want to make content, but it's like,
oh my god,
there's a point where content's not worth it. Like that's like saying like, oh, should the Sixers rest starters to get to gear up for game 6 at home? It's like, no, you don't. You just don't. First off, you don't do it. Second of all, could you imagine if they did do it? Like, because LeBron James needs more fuel for the haters that people that actually actually hate on him. But yeah, I think my biggest question is, do you think Steph Curry has a decent game after just shooting kind of awful?
Probably. Yeah. They look tired too. Remember, they're not everyone talks about Davis, LeBron every other night. They're getting tired. The Warriors are not a young team either, and they've played every other night since the night before the NFL draft. Game 5 against the Kings was that Wednesday before the draft. Game 6 was the Friday. They've played every other day. They have not had a breather here. They looked exhausted last night, so they're getting a little tired too. And I don't know what's happened to Poole. I made some nice money playing his unders.
I saw that. I wish I did that because I missed it because he's almost unplayable. I mean,
he couldn't even do it for K Adams. Like His whole thing
Yeah,
about playing for the baddies is not
if K
happening.
Adams and Kim K was there too. I mean, he
God,
just
not
like,
enough. Who do we need?
I mean, maybe
I
they
know.
canceled out. Is that it? Is that what it is?
Oh, too many.
They can't be two. Yeah, double negative. Yeah, I only asked because I was actually looking. I don't know what it is now, but DraftKings earlier had Steph Curry 30 plus in a win. If you build it out SGP, it was like plus 110. I feel like if they're gonna win and cover, Steph Curry has got to be a bigger role in that
What's
because he
his
scored
point total? 30 and a half.
31 and a half.
Yeah.
He scored 31 yesterday, but he shot what? 1 for 83 from 3. It was wild.
My problem with that is you could have had Warriors minus 235 money line like as soon as the game ended. So now you're getting plus 100 and you got to get the additional part of Curry. Like I just feel like look, I have no problem playing the Warriors in some fashion here, but it's starting to get away from you where I think it's an important teaching thing is better. Is like have a game plan. All right, if the Warriors lose this game and they're down 3-1, I'm gonna bet them in game 5. I'm gonna bet them early, not like wait till 10 minutes before the game starts and you're getting a much worse line. And sometimes you get away with it. It doesn't mean you're gonna lose because of it, but I don't know. I mean, you had a chance to lay 5 late last night. Now it's 7. That's tough.
Yeah, I think it's also one of those things too where lines because as someone that plays a lot of player props more than anything, I think it's one of those things where it's a rare occasion where you're so used to getting lines like the morning of, but in the playoffs you can kind of have a plan to attack beforehand. Because even the Maxi and B play I put out like way earlier, it's already up to like minus 120. So you can just save yourself a lot of juice and time if you have, right away after that game, I knew what my plan of attack was. So you can kind of save yourself by the fact that you have 48 hours before games, but you get lines early.
I really like Davis under 24.5 points, LeBron under 25.5 points. I could see them just not playing a lot of minutes. They get rolled. I don't think they're going to push here. That's, I think, my angle here. I don't think they're going to push. There's nothing on Poole, by the way. No market on Poole.
I saw that because they don't know if he's going to start.
They don't know what to do. He's played 10 minutes yesterday. He turned the ball over a few times, missed every shot he took, didn't score.
He'll probably get those late, the late role player lines that flood in. He'll probably get something like that. But yeah, they almost seem like they don't even want to touch his props. I mean, Draymond Green's 8.5 plus money to the over. I mean, he hit his head so hard that he started to look confident on offense until
I saw
the
your
end.
tweet.
Dude, that when I was like I said, I watch a lot of basketball with my brother. That's my one thing. When he hit that fake pick and roll with the hezzy behind the back, I lost my shit. I don't get like that up for games that aren't like my teams. But that blew my mind. That was wild. And then he gave it back in the end when he just had that horrible turnover. But yeah, I think this is a weird game. What do you think? Jordan Poole is going to open at 8.5 points?
I was thinking 12.5. Yeah, probably.
It was 12.5 last game.
Yeah, it was 12.5 last night. You didn't play. I think. Yeah, you're probably somewhere in the middle. I would think closer to 8.5. He does typically play better at home. It's just a matter now of he's almost like you said. He's almost unplayable. He doesn't give you anything on defense.
He might just on defense.
He's basically Curry's backup. That's really what his role is, and that's just not. But then if you add in the fact that if it's a blowout, maybe they use him to kind of get right in garbage time. Yeah. It's a really tough handicap. I'm not as bullish on playing the under. I wish I played it more. Bigger
I think it's going to be 8.5 because as a smart bettor that you are, Will, 8.5 is one of those things where you just can't touch it either way. Like,
right.
I think they always want to prevent people from just doing max unders again because that's what you guys were doing yesterday was the max unders in a way. And I think they want to avoid that. So they might make it really unplayable.
Yep. True. Totally agree. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm excited for these. I mean, I'm with Will where you mentioned it's hard to watch both games on both nights. It kind of sucks that the two good series so far are on the same nights, and then the ones that have been kind of blowouts or less fun to watch are on the same night. Where I kind of wish it was
staggered.
Like staggered, but I guess
I still think Lakers Warriors is so good just because even though there've been a couple blowouts, there's so much drama with like LeBron can. I mean, we have probably undersold this, and you guys, a few of you were right. McAfee was right. I think maybe Nick. You guys went around the trade deadline like, oh, the Lakers could make a run. I was like, no chance. They're just not. It shows you how bad Westbrook was because if you just put warm bodies around Davis and LeBron, even if they're like 75%. It's a hell of a team. And the fact that LeBron is one game away from going back to a conference finals, that's hard to believe. It's really, I can't get over how shocking that is. And the dynasty could be over. So there's so much drama with that series. I think it's fascinating, but it's amazing. He's one game away from a conference finals.
And NBA conspiracy theorists are like licking their chops, seeing that Steph's down 3-1 to LeBron James. They're just like, it's all coming together. Like if this happens, I'll just tell you what, you'll never hear the end of these either the sports or rig computer, whatever it is. Like it will be the end of trying to reason against it. They will be unfathomable. That'd be crazy on Twitter.
Oh, there's always somebody in every book, Brad. You mentioned you went to a sports book. There's always somebody in every sports book sitting there watching. The game's fixed. It's rigged.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And it's like the game's fixed because I had I
Yeah.
had this guy score 25 points and he scored 24. It's like, yeah, well,
right.
wasn't that an alt line? Or like it's always the people that are like, oh, I laddered him to 40, he scored 39, they have it rigged. And I'm like, well,
Right.
you have better cases if it's like the actual line. When you're talking plus 1100 alt lines, it's a harder argument to kind of put together.
No doubt. All right, boys. Anything else?
No, let's
No,
watch
man.
some,
Yeah,
let's
so
watch
watch
some
some good
games.
basketball. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Fun night. I'm excited for these games to start. I really am. 2 good nights, 2-2. This is a lot of drama. The second round is a lot of fun. So appreciate it. Good luck with all your plays. What were we gonna say? Go ahead.
I was gonna say I hope I get to watch second game because if the Sixers lose by any margin, I'd probably just go to bed sad. So let's hope I can watch both games tonight.
It's tough on the East Coast, man. These games get over so late, and especially if you have a big win as a bettor, as a fan, you're all
'Cause-
riled up. It's hard to fall asleep. You're sitting there at 1:30 in the morning talking.
Yeah.
But like it's also one of those things where I have tickets for game 6, and last year I was there when they lost and got eliminated.
Oh,
so
Oh.
they got
so-
they didn't lose. They got bitch slapped.
yeah, oh yeah, thanks, Will. So I'm gonna sell my tickets if they lose tonight because I can't deal with elimination game again. So I need them to win.
I think they're. I don't want to say. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I got a feeling they win tonight. I don't know why.
It's money line. Everyone take it. Let's all do it.
All right. We'll end on that. Pickett Sports, Goldboys. Check it out. We'll be back Thursday. Brian, Brad, appreciate you guys. See you next time.